here's the rule for everyone watching this podcast, right? Everything you earn, you need to take 20% of what you earn and put it into your brain. What do I want? I want to learn.
Yeah.
If you like the word learn, L-E-A-R-N, take off the L, it spells earn.
Wow.
Right? So that means when people say to me, John, I'm not doing well, it's because you're not learning.
John Lee is a UK-based entrepreneur.
As one of the youngest leaders in property investment, he combines his expertise in business, marketing, and public speaking
If you're going to think, you may as well think big, am I right?
to help individuals build wealth and take control of their futures.
John has shared the stage with global icons like Sir Richard Branson and Barack Obama.
This has made him a well-known mentor and expert in helping people improve their lives and manage their finances.
People think success is a straight line, right? From here, A to B. But it really goes from A and it goes round and round and round in circles like this, and then it gets to B. And that circle part, the squiggle, when we get around that, that's what we want to pay to shortcut and leapfrog.
Wow.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. Secret of millionaires. Welcome to Crypto Gist. Today we have a very special episode number 160, and we have very special guest, Mr. John Lee. Thank you for coming to the show.
Brother, thanks so much for having me, man.
So, for people that don't know who is John Lee, he's an investor, entrepreneur, a genius creating content. I just saw how he create content in under 1 minute, and he transformed it for more than 10 languages. But before talking about AI, blockchain, investment, real estate, let's go all the way back and tell people who is John Lee.
Well, I started as a dishwasher in a mom's Chinese takeaway.
Yeah.
Went to university, became an animator, and then as I was working my job, I was working in central London, and you know the UK, right?
Yes.
So it's always like it never feels like we have enough time, right? We're always just kind of existing. We're just making enough to get by. And so what I decided to do was invest in real estate. I'm like, you know what? I was on £36,000. If I can just make my entire year's salary, I'll just buy one house, sell it, and then I'll just quit my job and then not have to work. And so that's exactly what I did.
That's what you did. And something that it was very interesting that your first significant profit is like it went from 85,000 and you sell it for 185,000. That was like the case of study, and you say, okay, this is what I'm going to go towards, $100,000 in one flip.
Yes. Yeah. But because here's the thing, like when you look at cash flow, people they think of it as like a monthly thing. Okay, you make 1,000 a month, 2,000, 5,000. But if you do it 5,000, you times it over, let's say 10 months or like 12 months, a year, then you just need to buy one thing and sell it, make 60,000. And now you've got the whole year off if you choose to do so, that is. But then of course, there's only so much Netflix you can watch. There's only so much twiddling your thumbs. And then that's when you get passionate about things. You see, when you are born in life, it's like, what do you do? When you ask people the question, Andreas, what do you want? They can't answer you with a straight question. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, nobody knows.
Right? It's like, well, I'm not sure. I'll do a bit of this, bit of that. But actually, when people are very clear on what they want, then it starts to align. And for me, when I started investing in real estate, a lot of people can ask me questions on that. And so then I became a teacher. Then I started teaching people. And what I realized is the more I taught people, the more real estate I would get. I was like, that's interesting. So I teach you how to invest in real estate. You find a deal you can't do. You come to me, say, John, do you want the deal? So every time I would teach people, they would become my deal finders. And that's how I built a multi-million-pound property portfolio.
Wow. And now you're doing amazing things. You have chair stages with big people like Bill Clinton and other people as well. But something that marked your career, it was, you say, dishwasher, 7 years old, making money, then flipping houses, but also you struggle with dyslexia. Tell us about this.
If even till today, if you go to my Instagram, right, that you read my posts, there's insane grammatical mistakes, spelling mistakes.
Oh,
you know what people say to me? Oh, like you can't even spell. Like, but it's not about, what I realized, Andreas? It's not about being intelligent. It's about being smart.
Okay.
Right. And you know what I realized? A lot of people think that you have to have, A grades to be, smart. Like it's not about intelligence. In fact, the more intelligent you are, the less chance you have to be successful. And what do I mean by that? Because when people are too intelligent, they overanalyze things. What if this happens? What if this? It's very logical. Whereas entrepreneurship is like I jump off a cliff, I build a plane on the way down. Right? You figure out things on the way down, and that's what I've kind of operate in my life is like, I don't know how to do things, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to fail, and I'll find things that work, and I'll find things that won't work. And the ones that work, I'll just do more of that. And that's a very simple, like, it's not logical, actually, when you think about it. It's very counterintuitive. And when I say, people, the more intelligent they are, the more they tend to, or not this is not true for everybody, right? But for most of my friends who, go to, very prestigious schools, they're the A grade students. That's why they say, if you're an A grade student, you work for the corporate. And if you're a B grade student, you work for the C grade students.
Actually, I was in a meeting yesterday with 7 people. And most of the people that we were doing a presentation, and 2 of my friends, they were in shorts, they're into technology. Yes. And then the people that were listening, they were wearing suits, which is quite funny.
Interesting, right?
Something that's very, we were talking before we start the podcast, we were talking about Padre Rico, Padre Pobre in Spanish, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was a book that transformed your life by Robert Kiyosaki. Tell us about why this was so important and why we have that in common. Most of the entrepreneurs, we read that book and then it's like an aha moment.
Because it comes down to the concept of how you perceive something. Like, if I only know that there's one way to make money, and that is to trade time for money, well, then what do? I get another job. Now I have 2 jobs. Now I'm not working 8 hours, I'm working 16 hours a day, right? I want to make more money, I get a 3rd job. Then you don't sleep, and then you get sick. So that is not the right way to become successful. So when I read that book, it opened my mind up to passive income. So what is it? Well, actually, I don't have to trade time for money. I can do something, and then it's the past results of what I do earns money. Now, the next evolution of that is leveraged income. So we have active income, leveraged income, and now we have active, passive. Now we have leverage. But now there's a 4th one now, and that is future money. So what is future money? You see, the way you can unlock money is to look at all the possibilities out there on where the problems are. And if you solve that problem, you make a lot of money. You want to become a billionaire? Help 1 billion people. You want to be a millionaire? Help 1 million people, right? So the amount of money in your bank account is in direct proportion to the amount of people that you help.
Wow.
So this is why I'm so excited now with blockchain, with AI, especially AI Web3 blockchain, with the real utility. This is what you start to see the trend right now.
Before jumping to that, because I just saw how bullish are you into AI and how smart you are using it, the products and services, but also you are investor into AI. Let's go back a little bit. I know you have this amazing Honda S2000 and you pay 10,000 pounds for a mentorship program. So tell us about why you have to sell your car to invest in yourself. People don't have that concept.
So look at what's happening in the market right now. Tech's changing fast. AI is changing quick. You have quantum chips that now can solve a quadrillion in 5 minutes that what a supercomputer could not do. You have the market landscapes changing, and everything that's happening right now is just fast pace. So what's happening? Knowledge gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So that means a lot of companies now, so they did this research and said, okay, what are companies going to do this year? And they really have to upskill themselves. Do you know the number one thing that people are going to upskill themselves in? Data management.
Data management.
Right?
Big, okay.
Second, blockchain. Third, AI.
Wow.
All 3 combined. So that means, you asked me, why would I sell my Honda, right? And I love cars, right? And this was, again, 20 years ago. I worked so hard to get that car convertible. Like, I love it, right? But I sold it for £15,000.
Wow.
And I found this guy's name was Jingtan. I paid him £10,000 for 2 days of his time. All my friends like, you're crazy.
You're crazy, yeah.
Like, it's a scam.
How old were you back then?
I was 23.
Okay.
23.
Okay.
And
wow.
At that time, I'm like, do you think I had 10,000 I can just give away? Right? But when you look at it, it's so funny. Like, look at what people put their money into, right? You see how people are successful. You see what they put their money into. Like, look at people's calendar. Right? So if I open your calendar now, I'll be able to see all these different appointments with all these special guests and da-da-da-da-da, right? Then you know that person's busy, right? You know that person has scheduled time for it. Your future is what you schedule your time for. So At the time, okay, what do I want? I want to learn.
Yeah.
If you like the word learn, Learn, take off the L, it spells earn.
Earn. Wow.
Right? So that means when people say to me, John, I'm not doing well, it's because you're not learning. It's because you're not filling that skill gap. And so the reason why I would pay him £10,000 is because I leapfrog that entire skill gap. That would normally take me, say, 10 years to do. I can do it in 6 months.
Something that happened to me is something very similar, but obviously I was a little bit older. It's my first mentor in crypto in 2016. I paid him £1,000, and I was living in £28,000 a year.
Right.
So my wife said, "You're crazy. Why are you paying this guy? You don't know about crypto. What is that?" And then fast forward, I pay somebody else again, like £7,000 for a social media coaching, and then I pay like another 20,000. I pay so much in coaches.
Right. So it's not paying, it's investing.
Investing, yeah, sorry, investing.
Right. So this is what people see. Like people, like you look at all the people out there. Oh, I can't afford to get a mentor. Right. It's $5,000. Right. But you see them on a cruise.
Yes.
Right. Or you see someone. Oh yeah, I can't afford to do that. But then they just bought a new Rolex. It's like, when's the last time you put the Rolex into your brain?
Yes.
That's what people got to think about. And you know, Andreas,
that's true.
This is why I love doing this podcast, because one thing, without a shadow of a doubt, that produces a result is understanding and knowledge to be able to execute. Not just learning, but it has to be taught in a way that can be executable. And so people, they miss that part out. They just learn. And your self-development, your books go on your shelf, becomes shelf development. You've heard that before, right? Right? It becomes shelf development, but you're not actually doing anything with it. So here's the rule for everyone watching this podcast, right? Everything you earn, you need to take 20% of what you earn and put it into your brain.
I like that.
So if you make 100,000 a year, you take 20,000 of that, you put it in your brain.
Okay.
Right? Why is that important? Because when you put that money into your brain, you grow. You have skin in the game. You know, quite often, when I first started real estate, people would say to me, "Oh, John, let me take you out for a coffee. I want to pick your brain." I'm like, "Cool."
At the beginning. Yes.
We
Yeah.
go out.
Of course, you say yes all the time.
Right, we go out and I drink a coffee and it's great. I spend like 3 hours with them, right? And then 6 months later, I say, "Hey, did you do the thing I told you to do?" "Oh yeah, John, I'm still thinking about it." I'm like, I feel like I wasted my time.
That happened a lot.
Right, and you must get that. So now I have to charge I charge $5,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? I have to charge for the time. Because what I realize, and do you know the funny thing is, every time I meet people for free, right, they're always late most of the time.
Oh my gosh.
When people pay $5,000, my team message me, your client's here.
He's calling.
Right? He's calling oh, he's in the lobby, right? He's not late. He's always on time.
Yeah.
So this is important. It's human psychology. When people pay, they pay attention.
When people pay and they invest, they invest
pay
in attention.
Yes.
John, something interesting. So you invest those £10,000 at 23 and your first million of pounds at 27. 4 years. Nowadays, they think you can become a millionaire because you become a content creator or influencer or whatever. But it took you more than 4 years. But from that moment investment to make it the first million of pounds, you went all in. How was that?
Look, for me, I just know that time is not on our side, right? Time, people, they operate their life like they've got 1 billion years to live. Do you know, I always say this to people. Let's say you're the age of 40 years old, right? The average life expectancy, let's just say in the UK is 82 point something years. Let's just say 90 years old, right? That means you got 40, right? And then you've got another 50 years to live, right? So by the time you're 90, that's when we're supposed to meet our creator. So then I say to people, and I do this calculation with them, right? And I'll do this with you now, and you can all follow along. Everyone take out your phone and do this. Open your calculator out.
I'll do
right? Let's do this together, right? So calculate your age and basically minus it off 90. Obviously, some people will live longer and so on, but just minus off 90. So we take our calculator out. So I put in my age, and I've got 90. So 46, right? Years,
90,
right?
Okay. So minus.
Yeah. So
minus,
basically, how many years you've got left. So if you're 40 years old, you got 50, right? So here's what we do. How many hours are there in a day?
24.
Okay, put 24 in.
But divide?
No.
Just put 24. Okay.
24. How many days in a year?
365.
Times 365.
Okay.
How much is that?
8,700.
760.
Yes.
Right? That's how many hours. Okay. Now, how many years? Times it by how many years? So for me, it'd be 46.
Times 50.
Right? So that means I have 402 hours, 960. Right? 402,000
gosh.
hours to live. Now, don't forget,
Yes.
we sleep for some of that.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So let's say we sleep for 20% of the time. So what's 80% of that? Right? So I have 322,000.
80% of the time.
No. As in, like, you sleep for 20% of the time.
Okay.
So 80% of that. So
Okay.
80% of my 402 leaves me with 322. That means I have 322,000 hours. So next time, so I want you all, once you figured out what that number is,
Okay.
I want you to, at the edge of your bed, get a projector, go to Google Timer and hit 322,000 and hit start so it counts down. Then sync it to all of your devices. And next time you go, you know what, I'll think about it. Look how much time you got left.
That's like a black box episode. Oh my
This is
gosh.
why I always have an urgency for time.
Wow.
So when people say to me, why are you paying someone 10,000 for 2 days of their time? Because I get to save more time. I get to live, like, how long it would take people to figure out things. Why would you go and figure out yourself? Just find somebody and learn it from them. This is why I love to run masterminds all around the world, right? So we run them in the US, in UAE, in Asia, in Australia. And I bring the best people together, right? Not because it's cool. I want to learn from them, right? This is skills gap shortening, right? I want to shorten that skill. Like you say, you paid someone $1,000 and $20,000 in content creation. Now you've got, hundreds of episodes, right? And look at how much of the money you made. By the way, he drove me here in his Lamborghini, So I'm just saying that we've got to make sure that we are constantly learning. If you look at the thing that moves the needle the most, it's action learning. Not learning action, it's action learning. So we learn, we action. Because when you learn something, you action it, you learn more, and it compounds.
And is that one of the habits of a self-made millionaire that you talk all the time?
One of the habits is constantly learning. But the thing that people miss out is, like, the secret to success is failure. Why? Because you now know what not to do. Right? For example, when I make a post on social media, I know not to start the video with, "Hi, this is John Lee. How are you doing?" People don't care. I know now that when I start a video, it needs to go straight to attention. Right? So for example, here's how you get £100,000 off the price of your property purchase. Right? Right? Because it's a hook. Right? And now I've started to loop videos. So for example, at the end of my video, instead of saying something like, and thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe. At the end, I'll say, and that's why. I'll always end it with, that's why.
That's why.
Right? And then what happens, I just cut it there. And at the start, right, I'll start with, you have to buy property today. So when it gets to the end, it says, and that's why, and it loops back, you have to buy property again. And people watch it. They go, I'm sure I've watched this before, and then watch it again and again and again. And every time on social media, when you watch a piece of content again and again and again and again, and again, you get more reach for free.
Wow. You see, you're getting all these nuggets.
I'll show you, look, right? Like, look at the account. How many has reached in the last 30 days?
4 million.
Almost 4 million people in 30 days, because I'm hacking the algorithm of this, because it's not something I just figured out. It would take me years to figure out. But I just consult the best person at this. Tell me what not to do.
Tell me what not to do. Okay.
Don't tell me what to do. Tell me what not to do. People always tell me what to do. No, tell me what not to do.
Because they made the mistake.
Yes.
And that's why you're paying, just to avoid what they made, the mistakes.
You know, when I invest in companies, I ask them, what iteration version of this is it? If they tell me it's less than 100, I'm not investing.
Wow.
Because I know by 100.
Listen, guys.
Right? So it's because they haven't been through the pain. They haven't been through the trials and tribulations. This is what I've learned the last 20 years of doing this. Like, you got to shortcut the pain. Like I always draw this thing, right? People think success is a straight line, right? From here, A to B. But it really goes from A and it goes round and round and round in circles like this, and then it gets to B. And that circle part, the squiggle, when we get around that, that's what we want to pay to shortcut and leapfrog.
Wow.
That's the secret.
That is secret. Secret of millionaires. Now, John, something that you just mentioned, you have obviously your way that you invest into deals. Obviously, you're a massive investor in real estate, but also you're a massive investor in technology, blockchain, AI, Web3. Let's dig into, we're going to talk about AI, but let's dig into Web3.
Yeah.
And let's say blockchain, and let's say crypto. When was the first time that you heard about Bitcoin?
Oh my God. I was running an event in London. We had 1,000 people there. And the guy, this was probably 2016.
Okay.
Right. I remember, I'll never forget this. A big event. Guy walks up to me. Oh yeah, this is digital currency. I'm like, yeah, it's a scam. Right in my mind. Because here's the thing. If you don't understand something, you just automatically assume it's a scam.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I'm not doing it. Right. But this person was no, but you need to learn about this stuff. And this is where ignorance comes in. This is why it doesn't matter how successful you are. Do you know what? I have a lot of billionaire friends. You know, when we have a conversation, they're always asking me questions. I'm like, you're the billionaire. Why are you asking me the questions? And what I realized is when you're a billionaire, you want to absorb, you want to learn, you're very curious.
And they also listen.
Yes.
Yeah. They don't talk too much. They ask questions and then listen.
Yes. And so I'm like, why are they asking these questions? Because they want to learn. They're constantly learning. And so for me, like, had I had the knowledge back then, in fact, even go before that, right? I used to work for a company called Touch Communication in my teenage years. And guess what I was doing? I was calling people up and I was saying, hey, the internet's this big thing and you should buy a domain name. Like, you're a law firm, right? Yeah. I've got this domain name, lawyers.com. You should buy it. You should buy it. Oh no, I don't know this. No, really, it's going to be a big thing. Do you know I had access to all of the big domains? Marketing.com, sales.com,
crypto.com.
Well, I mean, back then it would have been available, right?
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't buy it myself. I was in the environment, but I did not buy it myself.
Did you buy johnlee.com? Yeah.
It took me 27 years to get johnlee.com.
Oh, wow.
Do you know how many John Lees there are in the world?
I don't know.
4.2 billion search results for the word John and Lee. It's the most common name in the world.
4.2.
4.2 billion search results for it.
Do you know that's also the reach that you have on Instagram? Similar. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Right. But here's the key. Like, once I understand that everything's all about, okay, I'm gonna get a bit fluffy, like you manifest things in, like when you manifest things, they come into your life as a frequency, right? There's this quantum realm, right? And we're in the real world, we're not in the quantum realm. Right? This is why your thoughts lead to your feelings, lead to your actions, lead to your results. This is how you unlock money, right? Money Unlocked is actually the name of my new book, by the way.
Good.
Right? So how do you unlock that? To unlock it, you must unlock something in your head first, right? How many times have you thought it's about someone and they call you?
Many times.
How many times have you had a gut feeling that coin's going up and you invest? You have no idea, you've done no research, but for some reason, something's calling you. You see signs.
Yeah.
You see angel numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444. I see that a lot.
Yes.
Right? And you have this gut feeling. Now, I'm not saying you should solely go off that, but there's something that's unexplainable that happens when you are fully committed. Right? When the student is ready, the master will show.
Yes.
And the opportunities will come.
Wow. Okay.
You sent me a message,
in February last year.
Right? Last year. And oh, John, next time you're in town. But obviously I get so many messages that you know, I just can't check them all. So I go to, I'm a venture partner in a VC firm in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So Tess, my partner, she brings me to the Solana event in London.
Okay.
I meet this lady called Liz.
Yes.
Right. She's doing a lot of blockchain.
Liz, yeah.
Right. And I just made a post on social media. I'm going to Dubai.
My girlfriend Lisa Suka.
Right. And then I said to her, do you know any good podcasts? Like, what podcast should I be on? And then you should go on Andrea's Crypto OGs. I said, and it didn't ring a bell at the time.
Yes.
And it's so funny because you and I are part of some of the mastermind groups.
Yes.
But we've never talked. But on the way here, in the conversation we've had, and you're like, oh my God, John, what you just shared with me, like no one's doing it in the crypto space.
Nobody. We will show you in the future.
Right. But this is an opportunity that, if you believe in string theory, everyone's pulled to each other somehow.
Yes.
Then I know that you know Eamon from Sigma, and it's like all these things are now coming to place. We meet people for a reason, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
You know? So I believe you and I were meant to sit here and have this conversation.
Yes.
And for me to show you this, now spark your brain in something, I go, oh my God, we can do this, and this. Then we help and we impact more people. And you know what I love about you?
Thank you.
Before the cameras rolled, he was like, oh, I had this Ukraine lady, I wanted to really help her out. You know, when I came to Dubai, like no one helped me out. And that's what I love about you, man.
Thank you, man.
It's like, we want to make impact. That's what it's about. We want to create impact and support and help people.
And talking about creating impact, this guy came to you in 2016, obviously created an impact in your head, and then you went and say, maybe I have to research this. You know, maybe I have to say, what is this thing about digital assets? What was the first thing when crypto, blockchain, or digital assets came to you, what was that click moment, that aha moment you said, maybe I need to put something on it?
You're going to love this. Do you know when it happened? I only started to really take crypto seriously Clubhouse days.
In Clubhouse days. Okay.
Think about when they used to talk about this. Do you remember the growth of NFTs? One of the first
we have
NFTs.
Paris Hilton,
John
Paul.
Legere, Steve Aoki launched it on Clubhouse, right?
They were
right,
yes.
and they bought it for what, 830,000. I thought, why would someone pay 830,000 for this JPEG? I couldn't understand it. At that point, I didn't understand the value of community back then. I mean, yes, I run big events with thousands of people there. And then you know what happened? So I got invited to this show called Shark Tank, right? And it was basically, obviously, because we couldn't film anywhere, it was done on Clubhouse. So I was in a room with Kevin Harrington.
I met Kevin as well.
Kevin, he's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
But there was a guy there, his name was Manny. And someone was making this pitch. And he said, oh, if you, I love your idea, send me a text message on +1 2678. I was like, Manny, no one's going to remember that. So you know what I did? I went online and said, this thing's called Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a .clubhouse domain. Because if you want to invest, go to, john.clubhouse, for example. But there wasn't a domain there. But do you know what I found? I found .club.
The club.
Right? And we just mentioned johnlee.com.
Yes.
Anything .com is gone. So I didn't want to make the same mistake I made when I was working in touch communication. So I thought, let's just do a search, see if johnlee.club's available. Sure enough, it was. I'm like, okay, let me see if john.club's available. It was there, Andreas. I'm like, okay, let's see if jl.club is there. It was there. And I was, oh my God, this is a gold mine. So you know what I did? I went to Google. I said, give me the top 500 names, first names like Andy, Claire, and I basically registered all the domains. I triggered a sales warning to the .club registry, right? Who's this guy buying up all these domains? It was me. Right. So now I have over 1,000 domain names. So I'm also investing in domain names as well. So I single-handedly basically got .club domain to sell to GoDaddy. Right. And that's when I understood the value of digital real estate. Right.
Okay.
Then I started using Clubhouse, and then people from Silicon Valley was there. Then I met a lot of family officers. That's how I met my partner in the VC firm in Silicon Valley. She introduced me to, oh, John, you need to do this Web3 stuff. Right? You need to. And so that's when I started venturing from real estate investing into business investing.
Like digital assets investment.
Yeah. And then tech. And so she said, oh, John, there's this company called SpaceX. We've got some allocation. Do you want to invest? I'm like, what's SpaceX? Or is it like, I'm not an astronaut. Right? So their family office had connections with, this is private, but I'll tell you this offline. But basically they had contact with the very famous, one of the richest men in Asia. Right. So they had allocation because they were friends. Right. And so they gave me only a small allocation. And so I managed to get in through a secondary. And then Clubhouse, I'm like, wow, this is a good podcasting platform. Maybe I should do this every day. I wonder if I can find someone who I can get allocation in this. Right. And so what you realize is that it's all about the connections and contacts. So then I became an investor in Clubhouse as a secondary through a VC fund. And then I come across this thing called Kraken.
Okay.
Right? Never. What is it? It's like a duck or a monster. Like, what is it?
It's like monster.
It's a monster. It's like, I heard about
the
Kraken
of the seas.
A cartoon, right?
Yes.
So one thing I learned as a real estate investor is that it's all about location, right? And when the gold rush happens, everyone's digging for gold. Because when people ask me, John, do you invest in crypto? Yeah, I do. But actually, you should not be doing the gold rushing. Right? When everyone's digging for gold, what do? You sell the spades and you sell the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Right? So that means if everyone, and I started noticing people doing these transactions, and these micro transactions, I thought, wow. And this is something I learned from Warren Buffett. Right? He said, invest in a company with economies of scale. Coca-Cola at the time sold like 80 million cans of Coke a day. If they raise it by 10 cents, they make millions. Right? I thought, wow, the same with crypto. If people start investing in crypto and now it's becoming, mass adoption, every trade they take, for every 500 you put in, they take $5, but they're doing that every single day. You times that by billions of people, that's a lot of money. So then I thought, I wonder if I get some allocation in that, right? So and then of course I did through a secondary, right? Through this VC firm. And then I realized that the value is not in the execution, it's now in your connections. It's not who you know, but it's who knows you.
Okay.
It's who knows you. And this is when it became this aha moment. Who can I connect with? So now I spend a lot of my time traveling around the world. People say, John, why would you travel halfway around the world to do a keynote speech?
Connection.
You got it. This is why we're having this conversation now. Because you said, John, I'm working with this company. Wow, I could use your expertise. So do you know what I do? So my billionaire friend Wayne is actually based in Dubai. He said to me, John, like, you fly around the world. Like, why do you do it? And I said, well, first of all, I enjoy it. He said, how much you get paid? I said, well, my speaker fee is £100,000. And he said, okay, how would you like to make more than that? I said, what? Really? How? And he said, and I said to him, and I asked him this question. I said, Wayne, if you was me, what would you do? Wayne, if you was me, what would you do? And he said, John, if I was you, you're in front of thousands and thousands of people. Instead of having a speaker fee, just basically give your time for free, get your costs covered, right? Pay for your flights, first class flights, hotels, everything, right? But just give your time. But every time you speak, you're going to pick these companies up. So it's what we call FOE, F-O-E, fee, override, equity. So in the last 4 years, I picked up 25 companies. 4 of them are unicorns now.
Wow.
I'm like, that's worth way more than my 100 keynote fee.
Wow.
This is when I start thinking smart. This is when I start understanding, oh my God, like, why didn't anyone teach this? So now actually this year, I've partnered with one of my business partners, and now we're going to be teaching kids financial literacy. We're going to be teaching kids about entrepreneurship. We're going to be teaching kids about emotional intelligence, because now we want to nurture our kids, because kids are always playing games. They're always on the internet. The Gen Zs are very tech savvy, but they don't have direction in terms of action and implementation. So in the VC and startup world, you nurture them from young, and then they get the traction, and you've been a part of that journey. That's why I love what you're doing.
Maybe this is a good moment to tell Cici, founder of Binance, ex-CEO of Binance, he created a company called Wiggle Academy to teach kids.
Wow, okay.
So Cici, you're watching this, talk to the good John to help the kids. John, we're about to wrapping up, but tell us about something that you are working right now. I know you're going to do events in Dubai. When are you moving to Dubai? Tell us about what is coming soon for Mr. John Lee.
So it's all about AI, Web3, blockchain. The problem with a lot of these, and if you look at a lot of these meme coins, there's always a pump and dump, others like rug pulls, right? So then how do you stop that from happening? Any token that does well has 3 things. 1, real utility. 2, community. And 3, some kind of tier 1 like a Binance or a Kraken or a Coinbase, like one of these top tiers. So right now, when's the last time you bought a wallet? Probably years ago?
A physical wallet.
Right. But now your wallet's in your phone.
Yeah.
But when you log into your bank account, you see how many dollars you've got. That's just a digital currency.
Yes.
So then what is the difference between a pound, dollar, yen, euro, and a Bitcoin? So what's going to happen is everyone will have their own tokenomics, right? Which means we're going to now be able to, I'll have my JL coin, you'll have your Andreas coin or your OG coin, right? So right now, if you buy this phone from me, all you get is the phone. But imagine if you issue 1 billion tokens at 1 cent and you buy my phone, you're getting something physical, but also you're getting community growth in token value, right? And now you've got real utility. So this is why I'm so bullish on AI. Right? I mean, I shared with you the conversation.
Yes.
I can clone someone in 5 minutes. I can take any creator, clone them, and make them say whatever I want them to say. Right? So you saw me do that live example. Right? I can now create my Nova. So I created something called Nova, which is a next generation optimized assistant. And then, of course, we've got this mini me where we can take anyone and replicate an entire organization. So now you have agentic AI. So I'll be able to say, create a post. I'll have some wearable tech, create a post it on Instagram, use this script, use avatar 3 and 4, test it on Facebook and Instagram, whichever one performs, create an ad around it, and then promote this product.
And translate it to 10 languages.
Yeah. Like there's so many things you can do. So my goal really is to, they talk about a unicorn. A company in unicorns normally have 1,000+ employees.
Okay.
Now we can have less than 10 employees with a full agentic AI and agents wrapped around that organization. Now you have AI organizations through chained AI.
Wow.
That's what I'm working on.
And by the way, this is going to be the first podcast of Crypto G's that's going to be translated in 5 languages. So you will see John speaking in Spanish, in Chinese, Russian, you name it.
I love this.
John, has been an amazing pleasure having you in the show. Is there one tip that you want to give to everybody that's starting their career as an entrepreneur, real estate, or as an investor in blockchain? One tip that you want to give to the audience of Crypto G's before we go?
Okay, so everything we do, there's always a risk, right? So then the question we have to ask is, how do we de-risk?
Okay.
Right? It's not what you do, it's what not to do. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, how do you de-risk the process? You de-risk by watching podcasts like this, by getting in touch, attending training programs, networking, because now you got the connection, you have a feel on the ground of what things are like. But for me, it's always like this. If you don't know something and people tell you not to do it, ask yourself the question, is this person have the results that I want or do not want? Do they, there's only two questions you ask anytime. Anything you want to achieve, who's done it? How did they do it? Find that person, spend as much time with them as possible. Now, sometimes you'll have to pay.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll pay in sweat equity. So you do something. So you want to work to learn, not to earn. I have a lot of people that work for my organization, right? They take a pay cut to come to me. I had someone who was making $500,000. She came to me for $100,000, right? And she's like, and I said, why are you taking such a pay cut? John, I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to invest. I want to learn how to do real estate. I want to learn marketing. I want to learn how you network. I want to learn how all this investing works. So you want to be on the ground. Get rid of the ego. The moment you think you know everything, you know nothing. Be the ultimate student. Learn and you will earn.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Lee in the house with Crypto Gist, one of the best shows that we ever had in Dubai. And you will see Mr. John Lee coming to Dubai very soon, more often.
Yes.
Inshallah, like they say here. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next episode. Please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and of course, go and give a shout out to John Lee on Instagram. You find John Lee on Twitter as well.
Yes.
And on YouTube.
Yes, YouTube.
So
if you go to YouTube, type in John Lee Success. I just got a new channel. They can check out all the content there.
Yeah,
as well.
but you need to go and follow my friend because he just gave me in 5 minutes so much information. Imagine what you can do when you follow him and go to his feed, through his Instagram, through his YouTube. Information, knowledge is power.